for purposes of looking into the annual report as well as the Auditor General outcomes of the Department of Environmental Affairs and Planning, together with its entity, which is Nature Conservation. The meeting is divided into three parts, which is the first part of the meeting. It's an in-committee meeting. In other words, it's a confidential meeting. The public is not allowed. It's only members as well as the Auditor General and the Audit Committee. Thereafter, we are going to be joined by the department, which is an open meeting. When we finish engaging with the report as members, we will allow members of the public who are present to also ask questions on the report. So before we may start, let me just give an opportunity to members of the legislature who are present to please introduce themselves for record purposes. Honorable members.
Matlodi Maseko, member of the Standing Committee, and good afternoon.
Good afternoon, Chair. Good afternoon, members. Good afternoon to the AG and everyone present. My name is Mbulelo Isaac Sileko, member of the committee. Thank you.
Good afternoon, Chair and everybody. My name is Andrikus van der Westhuizen. I'm an alternate member to this committee, standing in for the Honorable Derek America, but I'm also chair of the Standing Committee that deals with the Department of Environmental Affairs and its entity. Thank you.
Thank you very much, honorable members. Any apologies?
Good afternoon, Chairperson, members, through you, Chair. We have two apologies from Member America and from Member Kasim.
Thank you very much. And now I'm going to hand over to the Auditor General. As I normally say that you don't have to introduce yourself, the whole team. As and when we are going to speak, please introduce yourself as well as your position. I will start with the Auditor General to deal with both reports, and thereafter I will go to the Audit Committee. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Honorable Chair. Good afternoon, honorable members. My name is Lizo Nzamela. I'm the Senior Manager responsible for Department of Environmental Affairs. I would begin with the presentation of the report. My colleague will introduce himself as the Chair has indicated. With your permission, Chair, I would request to begin from page 4 of the briefing document, which depicts a graphical presentation of the revenue collection and the expenditure of the department. We can see from the graphs that the department in the current year almost doubled the collection of revenue. And this collection is with respect to repayment received from various municipalities as indicated. Also, with respect to expenditure, the expenditure was
I would like us to start our second part of our meeting. Having concluded the first part, where as the committee, we were being briefed by the Auditor General and the Audit Committee on the audit outcomes of the department. That was an in-committee meeting to afford us an opportunity to be kept abreast about the outcomes of the audit of the audit department and the entity. Now, the second part is with the department. This is an open meeting. In other words, it's open to members of the public who want to attend and even interact and ask questions. We're doing it so because it was advertised as such. It was advertised in various newspapers in all the 3 official languages of the province. So I will allow the department to, as led by the minister and the HOD, if there are any remarks that they would like to make those remarks. Don't necessarily have to, we don't want the department to introduce itself. Otherwise, it might take forever and we won't remember some of the names anyway. So what we'll normally do is that as and when a person speaks, he or she must just introduce themselves and the position that they are actually occupying. So thereafter, we'll allow members of the committee, if they've got questions, points of clarity or comments, they may do so. And then if they are members of the public who will also want to ask questions after the members of the legislation finish, they will be allowed to do so. Let me make use of this opportunity to welcome you, Minister, HOD, and the rest of your delegation for coming to the meeting. We know that as a practice, it's something that we are holding every year, that at a certain time in the year, you must come and then we will ask you points of clarity or would like to comment on the report. So if there's anything you'd like to say, I'll give you the opportunity to do so. And thereafter, we'll interact with the report.
Chairperson, no, I'm fine. I think we can start. The team has prepared well. Just to say, if it's clean, it's clean. And then I hope for then I hope we're going to be rewarded for that, so that there's not too many questions. But yeah, no, Chairperson, we understand your oversight role, but the two of us also come a long way, so we can say these things in a lighter vein. But yeah, no, we respect that and we're ready to field your questions.
Good afternoon. Thank you very much for the opportunity. Just to say that, yes, as Minister said, if it's clean, it's clean. We're pleased that both the department and the entity have got unqualified audits. In terms of the department, 99.1% expenditure. Biggest portion of that is the transfer because of the transfer to Cape Nature. Compensation of employees, the second biggest expenditure. To draw the committee's attention to the fact that we've had the contingent liability 6.1 million from the previous financial year, and that matter has now been dealt with, and that matter was withdrawn, and then really just to say that in terms of the investigation that was underway in terms of the irregular expenditure of the 31,000, that investigation has since been concluded, and that was irregular expenditure of 31,000, which resulted in fruitless and wasteful expenditure to the value of 82 rand and 80 cents. And we have done consequence management in terms of that. And yeah, and Then the own revenue, in terms of the department, we've exceeded that. It was the fines in terms of the Section 24G, and then the RSIP in terms of the transfer payments to the municipalities, the money that was paid back. Thank you.
Thank you very much, HOD. We take note of the fruitless and wasteful expenditure of 82 rand. As the minister has said, when it's clean, it's clean. And you know, the minister has also indicated that me and him come a long way. I think the first time we met was in the early 90s. He was the deputy mayor then. So I won't tell you what I was, but so of course the rest is history. Now, honorable members, are there any questions on the report? Now, the manner in which we deal with the reports is that we deal with the reports both of the entity as well as that of the department. We are dealing with section C of the report and section E as well as section F. Now, I ask members to ask questions on all those sections at once so that when you get responses, we can have responses at once on all of them. Because if we deal with them and we start with C, we start with E, then we deal with E and F, it must take us forever. So I regard the report as read by members. That's why I will ask them to ask questions in that regard. Honorable Maseko.
Thank you very much, Chair. Chair, I think from my side is just to congratulate the department and the entity and to say to you that it's really difficult one when you see a department that is performing, and from our side not being able to can talk too much if we also the allocation of the budget is just not changing the service that we expect from them. So it will be really unfair for me after there is a regular expenditure of 80 something rand to can say anything else to the department besides saying congratulations. But one thing that maybe they have to be innovative from Minister and HOD side is the issue of the SETA that is problematic in each and every department, to be innovative in how can you go about that is not one of the issues of the non-compliance, because everything is just for compliance is brilliant with the departments. It's SETA that is shortchanging you. I'm not giving it to you that it's you that are not doing that. I think from department to department, it's one of the issues that is shortchanging service delivery within the government. But with that being said, congratulations. We don't have to ask questions for the sake of asking questions. If it's clean, it's clean. Thank you very much, Chair.
Thank you very much, Honorable Maseko. Okay, just from my side, if there are no questions from other members, on section C, page 146, on attended of EERMCO. Yeah. Huh? No, no, no. No, that's fine. I think it's that's not the question actually I was going to ask. Let's leave the attendance. Let's deal with the issue of when the Auditor General was presenting us a report, he indicated that there has been some underfunding as a result, and they've also raised that as a concern. Now, of course, it's something that the department has got nothing to do. It's got nothing to do with the department, but I think it might be good maybe to hear from the department what have the departments done about it. it might assist if we can get any, because even to members here, it was a concern, you know, and of course, it's something that is coming from the previous financially, and also we've raised it also as the committee as well, that we are concerned that we identify it as a risk as well, you know. So maybe it might be good if we can hear what has the department also, any attempts that have been made. We know you might not be the source of funding because you don't fund yourself, you've got other funders, but it will be good to hear from your side as well.
Chairperson, yeah, it's a difficult question. It's coming on for years. And as we said here, there's a lot of officials that will also maybe point the finger to me and to HOD and want us to fight harder. I can tell you we try our utmost best to get a bigger budget for the department as well as Cape Nature. Understanding the environment we operate in, understanding the importance of, we're actually busy securing a good quality of life, as the Constitution states, for future generations. But it is a very difficult message to land when you sit with education and health and these budget cuts, and you must decide on the current state and people that will literally die if they don't get the medical support. So there's a lot of blood on the table in the Budget Council, between the emotions and the difficult thing of climate change. I think it's happened too slowly over years, and people's got this tendency to adapt very quickly. So they quickly forget. And then also what makes our message very difficult is after this last storms, then you will get very clever professors that goes on TV and say this is nothing to do with climate change. And it's got everything to do with climate change. It's not only climate change. It's climate change add on population growth, add on bad planning in the past, etc., etc. But it's the whole package that we need to deal with. I think what the HOD and the team has done very successfully, it's to get climate change vested in all the programs throughout government now. I think that will have a very positive long-term outcome for the department as well as Cape Nature, because we're in the middle of the Growth for Jobs strategy. We're in the middle of a lot of these strategies. Obviously, we would love to have a bigger budget because biodiversity, the protection of nature, it's from alien clearing to coastal management to air pollution. And I've warned you last year, I can mention it again, that I'm worried about air pollution because it's one of those silent ones that creep up on you if you don't keep to a program. Waste management, water management, all these things, it's crucial for ensuring a quality of life. And we all in this room do realize that. But I personally think it's going to get worse before it's getting better, because nationally, for all the reasons, there's a big shortfall on VAT. There's a big shortfall on corporate tax. And those things will have an impact on us, because we will get the instruction that we must cut budgets. And then we currently in that process negotiating again budget cuts. So it's a very difficult space. From my side, HOD and Dr. Omar, if you want to add.
Thank you very much, Chairperson. Thank you, Minister. We're even more concerned than what the committee is in terms of the budget shortfall. Of course, we're concerned for our staff, in terms of the staff being under pressure and the staff trying to do their utmost with the resources that's available. But the concern is for the human rights. It's for the citizens that we're currently serving, but it's also about future citizens. And therefore, if one looks at the risk profile, often what will receive the most attention are the things that are already broken. And the things that, whether it's energy supply or other things that where But there are things that are where the risk and the velocity in terms of the risk approaching, where the velocity is very fast in terms of some of the environmental risk. So we have, as a department, it's important for us to also focus on what is possible to do in terms of the resources that are available to us, even while there are budget pressures. What are we still able to do in terms of the budget that is available and the innovation that is important to continuously strive for? But yes, when cost of employment, it's the staff that's looking after the human rights, that's managing the risk for the citizens, that's serving the citizen. If our operational budget is becoming so small and the project funding, then it's becoming very difficult to do some of the critical work in terms of environmental quality, the work that the entity also does. This is the primary prevention that we're doing in terms of looking after the human rights. If we get it wrong in terms of water quality, air quality, then you will see the impacts down the line in terms of health. And some of the other portfolios, we're trying to put resources towards prevention and maintaining minimum standards, and also, of course, realizing opportunities. So it's not only the fact that we're dealing with the risk and we're dealing with it on a daily basis, that we're also looking at what are the opportunities and the opportunity cost if we don't, in fact, put certain investment into certain areas. And we put a lot of attention towards water, and then the load shedding came, and that required attention. And therefore, we are looking at that risk profile. And yes, with Treasury, with the rest of the Western Cape government, even with the other government partners, because we're all in this together as Western Cape government. We are the interrelatedness and interdependencies across the departments are what's so critical. So often the work that we need to do, if I look at some of the riparian rehabilitation and alien clearing work, is actually to protect that road, that bridge, that critical road, to protect the agricultural investment, to protect the water volume, the water quality. And therefore, unless we also invest in this critical portfolio, the rest of the infrastructure and the economy and the human rights are also at risk. And therefore, yes, the discussions with Treasury and the other departments in terms of the budgeting process that's underway, a particularly important discussion. And we are ourselves looking at where do we still have room for some innovation, some efficiencies. What do we need to do in order to serve the citizen? But yes, there are risks that we need to, as a province, deal with, and there are opportunities that we need to invest in. We invested heavily in terms of time and effort, in terms of the growth for job strategy, and specifically the importance of the environment as part of that, in terms of climate change, water, ecological infrastructure. So ecological infrastructure is also infrastructure, and therefore also require asset management, and the cost of not doing so timelessly, it will cost us dearly into the future. So we are truly looking after the future while serving the present generations. But yes, it is a concern that if one looks also at the entity over time, the allocations not keeping up in terms of the increased cost for doing our operations, whether it's fuel cost for transport or for the generators, and whether it's Cape Nature having to respond to flooding, whether it's our department having to respond to increased complaints and matters being reported in terms of environmental quality matters. And then a lot of the delivery, of course, is by municipalities, and a lot of people underestimate the role that the department plays in terms of municipal support, municipal oversight and support in terms of so many areas. So coastal management, climate change, municipal planning, equality management, waste management, all those portfolios where we're having to really provide a lot of support to the municipalities in order for the municipalities to look after the environmental standards, to provide the services. So critical part of our work, and again, the budget pressures in terms of that. But we hard at it in terms of the budgeting process. And we know that we have to responsibly put forward the best intelligence that we have, and there's a lot of intelligence in terms of also spatial targeting, looking at what the census information is also showing us in terms of where we're at, and what the information is showing in terms of what's also coming and what we need to be shaping in terms of the future, and the services and the increased services that we would have to provide, and that the rest of government would have to provide, in our role in that. Thank you.
Thank you. If there is no further question then from members, I like to hand over to Honorable Maseko to do some.
Okay, I'll come.
I caught you off guard. I caught you off guard.
Yeah, while we are waiting for Member Masek, allow me just a minute, Chair. No, Chair, thank you very much for the opportunity. And like the Minister said, what is clean is clean. There can be something that is clean after being clean. It can be very clean. And our Minister, I was just saying that in my little experience, we always hear about irregular expenditure, wasteful and fruitless. And it is my first time that I was sitting here, and I find that there is actually a department that is consistent in terms of this one that I've mentioned. And from your other head, in terms of local government, we also struggle with issues of consequent management. And I had to ask the AG, what is the secret? And the AG said there is no secret. It's just that you find dedicated people that are willing to work together. So when there are questions, they ask. If there are issues that they need to deal with, they deal with it. So this department is actually, we can learn a lot from them in terms of how one can take compliance very serious, and what needs to be done, and the importance of all, even the external audit committees and your internal audit unit, and your senior managers within the department, if all of you can work together, these things are possible. So it gives me hope that one day we can sit and say, in terms of local government, that we will also find that there won't be any fruitless, wasteful, and irregular expenditure, because they also come to the level of understanding that the importance of working together for the betterment of compliance. With those few words, thank you very much. May you continue doing what you are doing in terms of compliance. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Chair. I think I need to say that 2014, when we started here, we got Dr. Omar that really, we knew nothing about Cape nature, but we knew that there was this firecracker that will make sure that we understand what it entails to operate the Cape nature. So you don't have a clue. You have created strides. You have created those footprints that, much as you have a size 3, we feel like we have size 8 when we walk on those footprints. So thank you very much for being the person you are. And you are just going to the horizon. You are not going to retire. I strongly believe that there's no way that you are going to sit still, being the person you are that we have known for almost 10 years. So thank you very much. With this, the token of
Thank you. Thank you, CEO. Thank you to you. That was a token of appreciation for the role and the contribution that the CEO had in that agency. But also it's been done in the fact that it's actually the last time we might be meeting in this manner in terms of annual report, and I believe that we informed that you will be finishing towards the end of the year. So that was just a way of also bidding you farewell and wish you best of luck in whatever direction you might choose to take after this. So that was also, ladies and gentlemen, to show that we are not bad people as people might think we are. When you come in front of Scopa, you are just coming here to be attacked or scrutinized. That was just to also show the lighter side of us as well. But then on a more serious note, then, ladies and gentlemen, honorable members, I think in the absence of further question from members, we have come to the end of the meeting. Let me make use of the opportunity to thank you, Minister, and the rest of the department and the agency as well, and also thank our Auditor General and the Audit Committee, which I always say is our reliable partners in the accountability ecosystem. We are always very happy to actually interact with them.
Thank you, Chair. I think we are going to hear the voice of Dr. Omar before just for it to have it in there before she retires for December. And the last words has to be yours as a chair.
Doc?
Thank you, honorable members. I'm truly humbled and extremely grateful, and I'll treasure these moments. I always came to Scopa knowing that I'm going to learn something. And it's always like what you give, you get. And it was a pleasure to work with, especially I said this morning, there were consistent faces that became part of the family. And I do know that on weekends, there's a member, Maseko, who's walking our trails. So I'm humbled, and I thank the committee. I thank the minister. I thank the HOD and our board, the chair of our board here, and the team. My Cape Nature team is very, very dear to me. There's 1,000 people out there working for us, full-time equivalents, half of our full-time staff, and the dedication and hard work and going the extra mile for what they and we believe in doesn't go unnoticed. So thank you so much to everybody.
Thank you very much, Doc. As I was in finishing off, then honorable members, ladies and gentlemen, the minister, we thank you once again for coming. And as I've always been saying previously, that when you come to Scopa, the questions that we are asking is not that we are trying to put you in a corner or trying to make it difficult for you. We are just trying to probe and also trying and also play our role and responsibility of having to hold the executive to account and also contribute towards the accountability ecosystem. Otherwise, if we don't do it, you might not be having this clean audit that we are having, So this is actually part of us to assist you in being consistent in the good work that we are doing. With all those words, thank you very much, and the meeting is adjourned. Thank you very much.
Of course,